The news doesn't end here. Here's what's coming up on WCNC Plus. The Charlotte families continue pushing for justice while remembering lives lost to violence.
He got killed just over nonsense.
How a new CMPD promise hopes to bring answers in cold cases.
CMS is working on a new AI policy and drawing the lines on how far the technology should go. Coming up, what they're considering in this new plan.
1 year later, we're going to hear from a couple as well as a business and how they're all doing 1 year after Helene.
And Hurricane Helene taught lessons to all of us.
How the National Weather Service is using what they learned to keep you safe. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up on WCNC Plus.
All right, let's get a final check at traffic. You can see your drive times this morning are right around where they should be, just under 50 minutes if you're coming in from Salisbury. I do want to take you out to Cleveland County because this is the biggest ongoing problem. A tractor trailer crash is causing heavy delays out on I-85 northbound just past Battleground Road. You can see that purple indicating that the road is blocked right there. So your alternate route, if you are driving inbound, is just going to be to take Highway 29 to 216 through Kings Mountain because really I-85 is just blocked at that point.
I don't want to take responsibility for this, but it was a few weeks ago. I was like, man, this is a quiet forecast. This is boring. Well, this is too exciting because we have either side of 80 degrees over the next 3 days. We have widespread rain tonight and tomorrow, on and off rain chances today through early next week. And oh yeah, we could be impacted by a tropical storm. Stand by, we'll keep you updated.
All right, to keep us updated, join us over at WCNC Plus at 7 o'clock.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on this Friday on WCNC Plus at 7. I'm Megan Bragg.
And I'm Lisa Washington. This week, we are continuing our coverage marking the one-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. Our Ben Thompson is live this morning in Boone. Ben.
Hey there, Lisa. Busy morning ahead here on WCNC Plus. First, it is a North Carolina landmark, the Tweetsie Railroad. It shut down after Helene for an entire month. We're going to see how they're chugging along 1 year later. Plus, we're going to check in with folks in an apartment complex just about 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now, forced to evacuate when Helene hit. We'll see how they're recovering as well. Lisa.
All right, Ben, that sounds good. Right now, here's a live look at roads in the Queen City. Majestic is going to have a check on your morning commute this morning, but we start things off on this Friday morning with meteorologist Chris Mulcahy saying that it's going to be a cooler weekend. We know that's one. It's going to be more muggy today, but also there's some activity out in the Atlantic that he's keeping his eye on.
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. If you were joining me yesterday, it was right around, I think it was about 7:25. The models completely changed, that everything started to agree that we were potentially going to have a South Carolina landfall. So I want to start off with this, just kind of show you in general where we are going here on 7 Day, brought to us by Jerry Hunt Super Center. By earlier next week, we're not necessarily under a weather alert day as of yet. There's still so many changes that can happen here, but anytime between about Monday night into Wednesday morning, that's the general time frame that we could have some impacts here around the Charlotte area, even up in the mountains, just depending on the path that this system is going to go. And in the near term, we have the lower 80s today, upper 70s to the lower 80s on Sunday. I think Sunday has the best chance of staying dry here in the near term. And I think the wettest time period is really going to be your Friday night heading into Sunday. So there you go. Keep that in mind. But boy, is this going to be a wild ride, especially heading into next week. And then that's where we're going to be seeing quite the impacts. And this morning is not really the prettiest day. We're not looking at the most widespread rain. We do have a little bit of light rain that's here on the map. But here at 7:15, that is the sunrise time, and it's not as beautiful as it usually is. We have a lot of thick cloud cover here at the surface. It's not really a motivational start. So yeah, the sun is officially going to rise up here in about 13 minutes, but you're not really going to see it. Our visibilities in miles haven't been great, but it's actually a little bit better, but that doesn't mean that we're completely done here. We've done this on and off over the last few days. Visibility is down below a mile. They start to come up and they could drop again. So I think over the next couple of hours, especially from around Morganton up through Hickory and Statesville and areas north, you are going to have a better chance for fog compared to the rest of the area. Even right around 321 from Gastonia up to Lincolnton, we are seeing some lower visibilities. Not so much the further east you go, because we haven't had as much rain here otherwise over the last couple of days. Here's the light rain showers. We're not starting to see those spread across. We had this sharp line here just because some of the data was being cut off, but we are seeing some active light rain now pushing across the Charlotte area, now pushing into Cabarrus County, and also next up all aboard, starting to see some light rain right around you in Monroe. This is some morning rain that I think we're going to be dealing with over the next couple of hours. Then we're going to hit a little bit of a break, and then a return of maybe a thunderstorm chance during the middle of the afternoon before things really start to take over the map. Some of the heaviest rain that we're dealing with is in between Great Falls, Highway 21 and Lancaster, and then down here along 521, we have a little bit of rain that's just south of this map and around Tradesville as well over here in Lancaster County, and then of course across much of the 485 loop, a little bit of rain there as well. It's also going to be muggy, just like yesterday. It is technically cooler, but dew point around 70, even in the lower 80s, doesn't feel great, where 81 could feel more like 85, so up to about a 5-degree swing as far as our heat index goes. And our high temperatures over the last 3 days have been closer to 90 degrees, 89, 91, 88. We likely aren't going to get back to that range for the rest of the year even, because over the next 10 days, we really see a big significant shift. So overnight tonight, it's really through this evening that rain starts to spread, especially either side of the sun setting, a little bit close to 8 o'clock. Heading into this weekend, what a difference a week makes, because last weekend we were right around 90 degrees, just as we have been over the last 3 days. High temperatures this weekend, 78 for your Saturday, 81 for your Sunday. Coming up next, I'm going to talk about your futurecast. I'm going to go hour by hour, helping you plan out the weekend. And of course, we're going to have the updates on Tropical Wave Invest 94L, which will soon be Imelda, and the impacts we could see here in the Carolinas. But first, let's get over to Majestic on now this damper morning commute.
Good morning, everyone. Well, let's get to it. I-85 right here. Area roadways continue to be really dry out this direction. We do have some roads that are going to be a bit wet for that morning commute, especially in parts of South Carolina. York County, good morning. Not seeing any significant delays, so hopefully we can keep it that way. Want to show you your drive times if you are getting ready to pack up. Maybe you're heading off to work or getting those kids off to school this morning. 26 minutes if you're coming in from Belmont, and just about 30 if you're coming in from Gastonia. Seeing some wet roads and some rain that's continuing to fall, but I do want to take you out to Cleveland County because we're following this. You see this purple right here? That means that parts of I-85 are actually blocked. This red is stop and go traffic. We have big delays right now because of a tractor trailer crash. It's causing delays on I-85 northbound just past Battleground Road. So you can see the section of I-85 right now that is blocked. If this is your morning commute, it's out towards Grover. Don't take I-85. Instead, take Highway 29 to 216. You're going to have to drive up towards Kings Mountain to get back onto I-85. So you may also want to allow for a little extra drive time for that morning commute. Otherwise, we do have a lane that's blocked on York Mound Road at Tyvola Road, seeing minimal impacts with that, and one last active crash where we do have some more delays that are building. Lane is blocked because of it. It's on Highway 49 near Orchard Gate Drive. We'll have another update on those roads coming up next time I see ya.
Majestic, thanks. 7:06 now, and this morning we continue marking the one-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. The storm created devastating winds, rain, and flooding, destroying the lives of many in its path. Our Ben Thompson joins us again this morning live from Boone, where we continue to share more of those stories of survival. Ben.
Hey there, Lisa. Yeah, here in Boone, the scars of Helene are still visible 1 year later. You can see it just about everywhere. You can see it in the local roadways that are affected, who might have been changed. You can also see it at a local landmark that a lot of folks grew up going to. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live down at Blowing Rock. He is live at, Richard, can you hear me?
Violet.
I hope Richard can hear us. He's at the Tweetsie Railroad with more. Richard.
Yes, I can, Ben. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Ben, I can hear you guys. I actually was just talking to Ruben about one of the places we were, photojournalist Ruben Wallace, about one of the places we saw yesterday where they still, Vilas, there's a bridge that's out. I mean, it's still there. We have shots of it that we'll send in a little bit, but the bridge is gone. It's been that way for over a year. So while this area is going through the recovery process, there is still a lot of work to do. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Lisa and Megan, and good morning to all you folks watching us on the Plus. Happy Friday, folks. Wait a second. This is Kathy. Kathy Robbins is now here, the co-owner. She don't want to be with us early in the morning. No, she.
We're glad to have you here early this morning.
Yes, we've been here early this morning. Kathy, talk to us about just how tough this areas were hit, because you can talk about not only Tweetsie Village, but you can talk about every place else, right?
Oh yeah, last year it was devastating, and a lot of the businesses we couldn't open for the month of October, which is our biggest month of the whole year in really Western North Carolina because of the fall season. And so they closed everything down for a state of emergency, which they should have done, but it had a huge impact on all the businesses up here.
How are people dealing a year later?
We're resilient here in Western North Carolina and up here in the high country. And so we're just doing the best we can. We picked everything up, and all our businesses are opening. Some of our area didn't get hurt as bad, like Blowing Rock, because they're on a higher level, didn't get as much flooding. But we're open for business up here.
And things are looking better. We just want, before we forget, we want to talk about the fact that you guys actually dealt with this, but you also went out and helped the community. Some of the fundraising efforts you had, like with Samaritan's Purse. Yes,
we felt like we needed to give back to the community. And so Samaritan's Purse, we partnered with them to raise money to help the hurricane folks that, their homes were devastated or their businesses.
And a lot of folks just dealt with the struggles that were there. Just up the road in Boone, they have the Bavarian Village. That's, if you've ever been in Boone, there's a Walmart. You'll know the Walmart. That Walmart was flooded. Some folks say it was up to mid-thigh. The water's just rushing through there. But it also totally destroyed a mobile home community right behind there, and also Bavarian Village, an apartment complex. Some of those buildings still condemned, still not livable. We spoke with a couple who's been there years before and rode out that storm. They're still there a year later. They reflected on what they had to deal with. Take a listen.
I think Boone has bounced back incredibly. There's a few things that, have changed. Some local businesses, some roads are a lot worse off than they were, a year ago. But in general, it feels like the same town it was. A lot of students, traffic's terrible.
There's a lot of people who have moved in because of the college and everything, and we're fortunate to live in a college town because of it being able to get back on its feet so quickly. But there is also a level of all of it happened so quickly, and there wasn't a lot of time for a lot of families to mourn, or like the lives that they had to leave behind, or even the families that they lost.
Yeah, that is also sobering, something we also need to remember, those lives lost, and folks who've been affected will be affected forever. We've got some information about Tweetsie. If you want to come out here and ride the railroad and have some fun, because it's still about trying to live your life as you help these folks recover, and as you also have an opportunity to help. We've got a link on our website. You can do that. We're right here in Blowing Rock. This is Richard Vane. Ben, we'll send it back to you.
We love Tweetsie. All right, Richard, thank you. And folks, join us tonight, a 1-hour special on Hurricane Helene 1 year later. That's set for tonight, 8 p.m. right here on WCNC Plus and on WCNC Charlotte. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to share the story of a nonprofit whose work to restore wells across western North Carolina really put a life-saving resource back into a lot of these communities around here. Back to you, Ice.
All right, sounds great. I remember going to Tweetsie Railroad as a little girl. So much fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up, a former FBI director is under indictment. The accusations against James Comey. We're back in about 2 minutes.
Developing this morning, former FBI Director James Comey responding to being indicted by a grand jury. The unprecedented move comes as President Trump recently suggested the Attorney General Pam Bondi should prosecute Comey and other political adversaries. NBC's Alice Barr reports.
Incidences of obstruction of justice, This morning, a former director of the FBI waking up as a felony defendant. James Comey now indicted by a grand jury on charges of making a false statement and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. It is a major escalation against someone President Trump sees as a political enemy.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump.
Comey posting this video overnight.
And I'm innocent, so let's have a trial.
As the president celebrated the news with the words "Justice in America." The charges stem from congressional testimony Comey gave in September 2020 when he was pressed over whether he lied to Congress years earlier about authorizing a leak to the press involving investigations into Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
I stand by what the testimony you summarized.
The statute of limitations for the charges was set to run out next week. On Saturday, President Trump publicly pressed Attorney General Pam Bondi to take action against Comey and other perceived political opponents who've investigated him. Yesterday, before the indictment, saying this.
I think I'd be allowed to get involved if I want, but I don't really choose to do so. I can only say that Comey's a bad person.
The top prosecutor tasked with leading the Comey investigation resigned last week rather than seeking an indictment, while a senior DOJ official tells NBC News career prosecutors laid out why they believe there was not enough evidence to charge in a memo to President Trump's hand-picked replacement and former personal attorney Lindsay Halligan, who has no experience as a prosecutor and is now the only one to sign Comey's charging papers.
Comey is now ordered to appear in court in just under 2 weeks, as Attorney General Pam Bondi says the Justice Department will follow the facts in this case. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Also in national headlines, the Epstein estate is handing over more documents. According to two sources familiar with the congressional investigation, the estate handed over more than 8,000 documents, including unredacted calendars, call logs, and cash ledgers. The committee will make their findings public once the victims' names are redacted. Now, coming up, we go back to live in Boone and hear about the massive efforts to restore the communities hit hard by Helene.
Live now at 7:19 here on WCNC Plus. We're live here in Boone, marking 1 year since Hurricane Helene devastated western North Carolina. Families faced all sorts of challenges in the face of that storm, including access to clean water. Many were living off bottled water for months. But as WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre shows us, a nonprofit stepped in to bring not just wells, but hope.
This home behind me was hit by 2 landslides and their well was completely destroyed. And for Katie Zaremba and her family, that meant they had no access to drinkable water for about 7 months.
I kind of anticipated we would lose power, but wasn't prepared for what actually happened. We had a tree went through the back of the house that kind of came in through the kitchen. The shed in our backyard was up on our back deck. Pretty much all the mud and just debris was up against the back of the house. The deck probably helped save our house.
Katie Zaremba remembers when Hurricane Helene came in like a wrecking ball. She says the landslides did most of the damage.
It took the wellhead completely off, so water and debris and mud just flooded into the well.
In the wake of Helene, water was everywhere, but not a drop safe to drink. For months, Zaremba's family lived off bottled water.
It was really stressful, of course, not having clean water in the house, and everything we were depending on was bottled water. So we were buying it for a while. Then we found some volunteer groups that we were able to get it from, and we were getting it from the distribution center for a while.
Across western North Carolina, thousands faced the same fate. That is when the Water Well Trust poured in to help.
There were at least 10,000 private wells impacted by Helene. So that is 10,000 households who lost their water during the flooding and the landslides.
The nonprofit funding repairs and new wells for more than a dozen families, even stepping in for fire departments and churches that served as emergency hubs after the storm.
Where they were giving out food and supplies and everything else, but they didn't have water. So this now ensured that people could come and fill up their tanks and et cetera and have access.
The support, one less worry for Zaremba and her family during an already overwhelming recovery.
It was a huge blessing given the amount of just costs that we have been facing since the storm.
When you are able to give people back a water resource, or for the first time even, give them a reliable water resource, it is absolutely life-changing for them.
The need for support is still overflowing. The trust says they continue to work with families to restore wells damaged by the storm. Jesse Pierre, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, 7:22 right here on WCNC Plus. Turning back to your weather impact forecast, and Chris, let's talk Imelda, Chris.
All right, well, Imelda looks like it could be forming either as early as this afternoon or sometime between tomorrow morning into the afternoon. So I would really say over the next 24 to 30 hours, good chance that we're going to be officially calling it tropical depression and then tropical storm Imelda. But there's a lot of hurdles that it has to go through. It is not a clear path to intensification as it is heading towards the Carolinas. So that's some good news compared to what we had yesterday. Yesterday wasn't indicating that it was going to be a really strong hurricane or any stretch. We're just kind of surprised that it took such a hard shift into the Carolinas, and it looks like that's kind of doubled down. Meanwhile, we're dealing with some pretty thick clouds here starting off the day. A little brighter sky over in Lylesville, so that's a little bit of optimism. We have increasing rain chances through today, especially this evening, tonight, heading into tomorrow. I think it's going to be the wettest period of the weekend. Here's what that looks like. We have some morning rain. We'll take a break. Some afternoon showers and storms, and then eventually we'll really fill in the gaps. Widespread rain. Most of us seeing rain by the middle of this evening and through the overnight. Will be a few breaks here and there, and at times the rain will be heavy. This is actually a perfect evening with widespread rain. Maybe have a movie night. That sounds awesome, right? And then by tomorrow morning, it should be pretty cloudy, pretty unmotivating to start off your Saturday morning. We'll see a little bit of sunshine for the afternoon with an isolated storm for more rain starts to move back in. So yeah, we got a lot of rain chances. Imelda, we've been naming it Imelda. It's not Imelda yet. Just want to be clear. This is just Invest 94L. It's just heading towards that direction. So likely by the weekend, we're going to be giving it a name. But here's one of the biggest disruptors right now. You may not know about it. These mountains can be hurricane killers up to 10,000 feet. So Imelda is turning around these, so it's not in a good environment. That will change over the next day or so. Let's see if there's any changes for your morning commute. Majestic, what's going on? What do we need to know?
Morning, everyone. Well, still watching a few things for that morning commute. Want to still give you those updates because some of those roads are going to be wet as you're heading out the door, so make sure you are aware of that. Still watching these big delays in Cleveland County because of a tractor trailer crash. It's causing big delays on I-85 northbound just past Battleground Road. Again, this is out in Cleveland County. Continuing to follow that, I would just suggest to take Highway 29 to 216. It will take you all the way up towards Kings Mountain, but really you just want to avoid that part of I-85 because parts of it are currently closed. A lane is blocked because of a crash. It's right here on Yorkmont Road and Tybula Road. Minimal impacts there, but we are seeing some delays just to the south of it because of a blocked lane on Highway 49 at Orchard Gate Drive. Those are the biggest things that I'm watching for now. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see you right back here in just a couple minutes.
Good morning, good morning. Good to see you. Temperatures right around 70 degrees. We've lost 1 degree only over the last 5 hours. So temperatures stay pretty consistent because of this low cloud cover. It will start to break up and we'll see a little bit of sunshine later on, but the clouds waiting out today. High temperatures only in the lower 80s, so cooler overall, but it is still feeling muggy. That air you can wear just like we had yesterday. And that's pretty much what we're holding on to over the next several days into next week. No big changes there, but a lot of rain. On and off rain this morning. We'll hit some thunderstorms isolated to scatter for this afternoon, but rain becomes widespread through this evening. Our Jerry Huns Supercenter 7-day forecast shows we're either side of 80 degrees through this weekend. Highest rain chances tonight and tomorrow. Chances for impacts for what will be a Melda Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday here close to home. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
We're watching multiple things out on those roads. We do have a handful of ongoing problems. I want to take you out to Cleveland County this morning. This is I-85. Big delays right there on I-85 because a tractor trailer crashed, and we're looking at I-85 northbound with now those impacts just past Battleground Road. That's that blocked road. You can see it in purple here, but we also now have a new crash in that same area at exit 2. So avoid this part of I-85. Instead, take Highway 29 to 216 to get around it.
Brooks. We're streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg. As we mark 1 year since Hurricane Helene, people can't forget how the storm hit at the worst time for Western North Carolina, devastating the area during its busiest time of the year when people come to see the leaves change in the holiday season.
Let's go back out to Ben Thompson. He is live in Boone this morning. When we talk about the impact on tourism, Ben, none more important to Asheville, of course, than the Biltmore estate.
Yeah, Asheville, and honestly, let's be honest, the entire state of North Carolina. While recovery efforts are still going on there in Asheville at the historic Biltmore Village, the village itself, I mean, it suffered extensive damage last year. Biltmore's Director of Public Relations discussed the impact it had on businesses and where their road is at right now in the road to recovery.
What has that recovery process been like for you guys?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on. Our recovery here in historic Biltmore Village has been it's been challenging and unique in several ways. Our district has historically been flooded in major storms because we are close to two rivers that intersect right near the heart of Asheville. We are at the front gate of the Biltmore estate. And as a historic district, our buildings are also incredibly sustainable. And so while we have faced a lot of the same challenges that other areas that were heavily impacted by Helene have faced, we have also had some unique experiences of our own here in the historic district because of our history and what our community looks like.
As far as businesses, I remember reading back in April that, and obviously with a lot of things, especially with the extensive damage, as far as businesses reopening, I mean, it's a moving target. Where would you say you guys are now when it comes to businesses reopening?
We are on an upward curve with our trajectory right now, which is wonderful. We did see some of the first businesses coming back open in April of this year. We probably have about 10 to 20% of the village open currently, which is really amazing. And we had another reopening this last Friday. We have another one today. We have another one tomorrow. And so we're really starting to see the momentum of everyone's hard work coming to fruition right now.
Folks who are booking that trip as we speak, what are some things that they should get into, that they should know before they book that trip?
Well, first of all, enjoy looking at how many incredible restaurants we have in this area, because you will not be lacking in good food while you are here. We have some of the top restaurants in the world, and we're very proud of that. One of them is right here in Biltmore Village, so that's very nice for me personally, not maybe for my waistline. But yeah, and I think that, of course, we're moving into leaf season, and for us, the change of the season into fall is incredibly magical here in the mountains. You feel like you are living in a painting everywhere you go. And so that is a very unique experience that I think everyone should have at least once in their life, is an Asheville leaf change season.
You get more access to conversations just like that one right here on WCNC Plus anytime. As you know, it's free and available to stream wherever you are. Now back to folks in the studio, and guys, I feel like everybody has a memory of either Biltmore itself or Biltmore Village. It's such a special, unique part of North Carolina that you really can't get anywhere else. I mean, yeah, you have the house itself, but then you also have the village, which is just a really unique blend of businesses. And as she said, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from the Charlotte restaurant scene, but pound for pound, Asheville's restaurant scene is just astonishingly good, and it's nationally recognized. So, it's good to see them coming back. And as I've always said, it's good to help them as much as we can.
Now, I completely agree, Ben. I remember the last time I went to Asheville, I think 3 restaurants we went to that everything was 100% from the appetizer to the main course, even the bread at some of these, absolutely amazing. So I also want to promote up around Grandfather Mountain. So we're starting to see some change. This is a sassafras we're seeing right here along Highway 221, sent in by Amanda. And the campaign that they've had really for the last half a year is the Bounce Back NC High Country, saying we're open, come on up. So if you do plan on going up there, just letting you know we are going to be dealing with some on and off rain. So maybe not the best time frame, but I think Sunday's going to be fairly decent. There's going to be a lot more bald spots there. As for right now, we do have a little bit of light rain that's actively coming down around the Charlotte area, now pushing into Concord, Cabarrus County, pushing its way further off towards the east. Once this band of showers is out of here, pushing off towards the east, it's about 2 hours from now that will mostly be clear. We're going to hit a little bit of a lull before we have a chance for a thunderstorm to return, and don't expect a lot of sunshine in the near term. This is not really a motivating Friday for you, but by the afternoon, start to get a little bit brighter, especially for you up in the high country, and then we start to see the redevelopment of a few showers and storms as early as 2 o'clock, really 2 to 8 o'clock. I think that starts to move back in. And then we have widespread rain. It's conveyor belt. We actually do have a medium risk for a little bit of localized flooding associated with this, because you notice that there are some pockets of some heavier rain, especially the further west that you go. So keep that in mind. Some significant ponding definitely going on through the overnight, some slick roads. So just be advised. And then heading into your Saturday morning, we start to see some breaks. I think we'll see a similar pattern. Sunshine starts to come back out for your Saturday afternoon. Hit or miss showers and thunderstorms before more rain starts to move back in. So to summarize all of this, I think we have some drier afternoons, but some wetter overnights and mornings over the next several days, because it can kind of rinse and repeat that script for your Sunday. Sunday afternoon actually looks to be the driest over the next 3. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Temperatures very similar over the next 3 days, as they have been in the upper 80s for the last 5 or so to the lower 90s. And then here's the big shift. We have some much thicker clouds Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But at that point, what is now just an investigation could potentially be Imelda over the next day or so, and then that is going to start to draw near the Carolinas. So right now we don't have a technical weather alert day, but we are actively watching this because it's the degree of magnitude that this system could affect the Charlotte area. All depends on the path, but we need the storm to really form before we get a lot more information with this. So I would just say stand by. I would really temper any outdoor plans Monday through Wednesday until we have a better idea what's going on. By Thursday, heading into next Friday, we're starting to dry things out and make them feel a little bit more fall-like and less humid, just in time for the first days of October. Man, Majestic, where did September go?
I have no clue. I absolutely don't, but I'm looking forward to October and cooler temperatures. For this morning, though, it's pretty mild the moment you step outside, 71 degrees. This is I-85 where roads are dry, but that's not going to be the case for everyone, so you may encounter some rain this morning. We are looking at our drive times, just over 50 minutes if you're coming in from Salisbury. All of the green is the rain that's coming down, and we do still have a handful of ongoing wrecks. Again, this is what we've been following now for over an hour. Big delays in Cleveland County. A tractor trailer crash still causing some delays on I-85 northbound just past Battleground Road here. In addition to that, we've also had a crash there, so you're going to want to just take Highway 29 instead. That's going to be your best alternate route. This is a newer crash also that we're just now looking at. It's a crash on Old Statesville Road, so yes, those southbound lanes are being impacted here. It's near Huntersville, so not 77, but Old Statesville Road. And then again, as we're looking at this problem, I want to let you know that not only have we had those delays because of that tractor trailer, but a new crash here at exit 2 Battleground Road. I'm no longer seeing that purple. That's some good news there, so that may mean that the road is going to be now clearing. However, those delays are still in place, so if you just don't want to worry about that, you may just want to take this alternate route. Remember, that's Highway 29 to 216. It will take you through Kings Mountain, but again, those are some ongoing delays. We'll have another update coming up for you shortly. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. Now to a development in the story that we first brought you yesterday morning. These two men, Detevin Butts and Jaquarius Mingo, are both facing assault charges in connection to shooting at a medic ambulance. This happened near CMPD headquarters in Uptown. Medics sharing this picture with us. You can see where that bullet hit. Officials confirmed there was a patient inside for an unrelated medical concern. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Butts is set to appear in court this morning.
This morning, CMPD is ramping up its cold case, now naming a full-time sergeant to focus on unsolved homicides and sexual assaults. The move was announced at a vigil last night. The event is a part of a nationwide movement remembering victims while also pushing for justice in unsolved cases.
Somebody who transitioned from homicide, so with great homicide experience, and they'll be looking at cold cases, cold case homicides and cold case sexual assaults, and hopefully get some results for families.
Families say no conviction can replace what they've lost, but add the renewed focus brings hope their loved ones will not be forgotten.
Coming up, AI and CMS, the new guidelines that could impact teachers and students. You're streaming live on WCNC Plus. The time now 7:42. This morning, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools is developing a plan to help guide the appropriate use of AI in the classroom. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning with what we learned from last night's school board meeting where they presented the first reading of this proposed policy. Destiny.
Good morning. CMS leaders basically want to set clear rules for how AI is used in the classroom, focusing on responsible use and keeping human connection at the center of learning. That was in that school board meeting that this potential guideline policy was introduced. It would be a district-wide AI policy and it says while AI can help improve learning, it should never replace human interaction, creativity, or decision making. It will be an 8-part policy, including training for staff, privacy protections, and yearly reviews to keep up with evolving technology. Vice Chair Dee Rankin, who leads the policy committee, says the goal is to make sure AI tools are used responsibly and in ways that support the district's educational mission.
This policy aims to ensure that AI systems introduced into the district align with educational goals, comply with privacy laws such as FERPA and COPPA, are accessible to our diverse student and staff population, that AI bias is mitigated whenever possible.
The district plans to hold a public hearing on October 14th about this AI policy, followed by a discussion and a vote on October 28th. Live in West Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much. Well, coming up, Chris has an update on our weather impact forecast on this Friday. Right now, we need to get to a breaking news update this morning. A 16-year-old who was shot at a sleepover on Sunday has died. Jeremiah Gonzalez was fighting for his life in the hospital after being shot on East Todd Lane. The suspect, 20-year-old Josue Ramos, is now charged with murder. A GoFundMe to help Gonzalez's family lay him to rest is now available. We have information on our WCNC mobile app. Let's check in with Chris now to find out more about our forecast. You are tracking the tropics, not one, but at least two systems out there.
Yeah, I know. It's very rare that the thing that's not even named is going to be mentioned more than the actual hurricane that's on the map that could become a Category 4 hurricane. So why, Chris? Why are you ignoring Umberto? Umberto doesn't deserve that. Well, Umberto at this point looks like it could have indirect impacts to Bermuda. I'm hoping it doesn't change, but right now it's trending in a good direction. Speaking of changes, you probably heard me ad nauseum talking about this wave yesterday, but I'm going to tell you the news update for what I have. For one, that wave is directly over Haiti, around Hispaniola, and this mountain pass, may not realize, is up to 10,000 feet high. Yeah, Pico Duarte. And this is also known as, not an official term, but the hurricane killer, because it's so high up that oftentimes it ruins the flow of some of these developing storms if they're weak enough. And that's why we haven't really seen any development for the time being. Now, we are seeing a general consensus that the center of circulation of what will likely be Imelda will pass by the Bahamas through this weekend. Now, at that point, especially over the next day or so, this is likely going to become a tropical storm. But there's one thing that's working in our favor, because things are trending towards a potential Carolina landfall. All this red is representing an unfavorable environment for wind shear. So wind shear is the change of wind speed and direction with height. That ruins the formation of like an eye wall. It's especially bad the closer you get to the shoreline. Now, these lines have spread out a little bit, so I think the only change that we're really going to see is maybe it's more of a North Carolina landfall compared to a South Carolina. So that's really the cusp. It's really anywhere from Charleston up to even the Outer Banks that we're now seeing kind of that cone of uncertainty, even though we don't have an official one by the National Hurricane Center because it's not an actual storm. So the wind shear impacts I mentioned, this is the way hurricanes like to be. They're fickle creatures. They like everything to be just right, Barry Bear's porridge type of deal. But when you get those stronger winds aloft with the weaker winds down towards the south, it disrupts that wind flow and that tight circulation. So that's exactly what's going to happen. That's why we're not calling this to be a rapidly intensifying storm, because things aren't just right. Helene, when it was a tropical storm, had a clear path of warm waters through the Gulf and nothing was bothering it. Now, Imelda is really dealing with an uphill battle, up mountain battle even, trying to get past Pico Duarte over here around Hispaniola, but it looks like our models have a general consensus that this will stay a tropical storm. I like that, but that still isn't necessarily good news. Even though you have a better agreement that it's going to be a weaker storm, it's still a tremendous amount of rain. It all depends on the general speed. So very disorganized over the next day or so. I think it's really by tomorrow that's looking like a better circulation that this could be a named storm. Meanwhile, look at how tight and really organized Umberto is going to be. By the end of the weekend, Umberto likely our third major hurricane of the season. But by the time you get about Monday into Tuesday, I think Tuesday more so looks to be the general time frame. That's where I'm seeing more impacts into the Carolinas. There's still a lot that can come with this. First off, step one, name the wave. So a lot more to come. Coming up next time, I'm talking about weather. I'll have a little bit more about our forecast for the weekend. But first, Majestic, you've had a slew of problems so far. What's the big one right now?
Well, we still just have a handful of ongoing minor crashes. Still watching I-85 though. This is parts of I-85 just north of Uptown. It is dry, not seeing any big problems there. In our drive times, if you do have someplace to be for your Friday morning, well, they're right about where they should be. 30 minutes right now if you're coming in from Gastonia, and 26 if you're starting your morning commute out in Belmont. You can see all the icons popping up. It happens this time of the day. Unfortunately, it's 7:51 right now. Now, the road is open right here. We've been talking about this I-85 northbound because of that tractor trailer crash. We do still have significant delays though, because we had that part of I-85 that was closed, and now we still have this active crash here. I-85 northbound, there's a crash at exit 2 at Battleground Road, so you can still see all of the red. If you just want to avoid this area, just take Highway 29 to 216. That will take you through Kings Mountain and then back over to I-85. So you may want to allow for a little extra drive time to get to where you need to be this morning. And then don't forget about this. Helene is blocked on Yorkmont Road in Tyvola because of an active crash.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. It's Friday, so what to do this weekend? There's a lot going on. One big event is bringing the nations together right here in Charlotte. We're talking about the UNCC International Festival, music, dance, culture. Saturday, tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's at the Barnhart Student Activity Center right there in that area. Explore Charlotte's longest-running international festival. Enjoy cultural displays, handcrafted goods, authentic attire, international cuisine, and lively music and dance. Don't miss it this weekend, tomorrow, the International Festival at UNCC. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Okay, Lisa, you're going to like this one.
Okay.
Okay, a Bay Area bachelorette is taking matters into her own hands to find a husband. She's buying billboards to find her future true love. Audrey Sisto reports.
What are you looking for, Lisa?
I'm looking for love. I'm looking for a husband.
If you recognize Lisa Catalano, it might be because you've seen one of her billboards on Highway 101 from San Francisco to Santa Clara. MarryLisa.com.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm looking for love.
A personal dating website she created for herself after getting fed up with the apps.
Every time I would get frustrated with the dating scene, I would just work a little bit on the website.
It includes info such as Lisa's non-negotiables, even an application for potential suitors. But she needed eyeballs, so
I just came up with the billboards because it's a very local form of advertising and it's hard to ignore.
And they seem to be working. Along with her TikTok posts, thousands have visited her site. She's received some applications too.
The billboards are still running. I don't have an end date yet. Hopefully once I find a guy and we get into a monogamous relationship.
Next step, she says scheduling some dates.
I don't need a lot of men. I just need to find the right one. And I know he's out there.
You know what? A lot of thoughts about this one.
Yeah.
I actually lived in that area and made that drive on the 101 from Santa Clara up to San Francisco, so I'm very familiar with that.
Right.
Yeah.
She's going to get a lot of eyeballs on that.
Right.
But I don't know that that's the best way, Lisa, for you to
I don't know
look
either,
for
because
a
I feel like
husband.
you're going to catch a lot of people.
You're going to get a lot of, attention that you might not want.
Imagine all the people driving, and I feel like a lot of them would not take it serious either. A lot of people are like, let me see what's going on.
Yeah.
And what is this number?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Mary
But good
Lisa.
luck, Lisa.
I do hope that Lisa finds love.
Yeah, she should find love. Yeah.
I've
I want
seen
to know how many hits she's had.
I mean, the 101 from Santa Clara to San Francisco is very, very busy.
Yeah.
So she's, I mean, yeah.
What were you going to say, Majestic?
I've seen those platforms like on social media where there's like a woman who helps people find their person and they'll like highlight them or showcase them.
Yes.
And I kind of like that vibe, but she's doing it all on herself with billboards and everything, and that's like a whole nother level.
That
you know?
is that.
Taking it on.
If it's successful, we'd love to know about it.
Right.
It's a unique approach.
I mean, that's
For her.
Yeah, see?
Good.
Way to go, Lisa. not
when
you.
you're
Yeah,
looking for
Lisa.
love. I mean, you know, do what you got to do, I guess.
Lisa
All right.
looking for love.
We have to take a break. Are you looking for some rain? Looking for a little muggy temperatures today? This is the look. This is the view from the view cam of Uptown. We're going to be right back. You guys stay with us here at WCNC Plus.
Well, good day. Good morning, everybody. We are looking at a chance for on and off rain today, especially heading into the evening. The evening, I think it's rain jacket type of weather because once it starts raining for some of you, it's not really going to stop because rain is likely throughout tonight. And some areas could pick up 1 to 2 inches of rain. So just kind of keep that in mind. And that includes this evening tonight heading into tomorrow. So that looks to be the most active zone. We're going to hit a little bit of a break. We have some light rain on the map right now. We've hit a little bit of a lull. Chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. More clouds than sun, just letting you know today. And that's why it's a whole lot cooler for your afternoon. And then here it is, that widespread rain, especially the further west you go. Keep that in mind. Hitting on some lulls during your Saturday and Sunday afternoon. Drier on Sunday. Chance for an elevated rain, though, as we have that tropical system that could be greeting us in the Carolinas Monday through Wednesday. Majestic, what do we need to know about your morning commute?
Oh, it is a busy start to our Friday morning. This is I-85 out at Statesville Ave. Area roadways here are dry, but that's not going to be the case for everyone. Watch for some of those wet roads, but also some fog that is limiting down visibility. About 30 minutes if you're coming in from Belmont. I'm going over all of these accidents this morning on WCNC Plus, so I hope you'll join us over there. We are still following this crash right here. It's a crash on exit 2 of I-85 northbound at Battleground Road. Major delays. We'll have more on this on WCNC Plus in just a couple minutes.
Good morning, happy Friday, and thanks for joining us at 8 o'clock. I'm Megan Bragg.
And I'm Lisa Washington. This morning, we continue to mark the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. That storm created devastating winds, rain, and floods, destroying the lives of many in its path. Our Ben Thompson is live this morning in Boone. We are hearing more stories of survival. I know the sun is up there now, kind of still a little foggy behind you, Ben. Tell us what it's like.
Yeah, nothing like a little mountain fog up here in the mountains. It seems fitting on this Friday morning. And you know, here in Boone, the aftermath and the scars of Helene are still visible around town. You can see it at one apartment complex that sort of became a symbol of just how fast that storm turned upside down the lives that were involved in it. You can see it at a popular landmark that a lot of folks grew up going to. And this morning, WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane, he is live in Blowing Rock at the Tweetsie Railroad with both of those stories this morning.
Yeah, Ben, good morning to you. Good morning, Megan and Lisa. Good Friday morning, everyone. Stories of the suffering, but also stories of resiliency right here in Blowing Rock. Chris is back with us this morning, co-owner of Tweetsie Railroad. Basically, what's the most important message that we need folks out there to know about this area?
Tell them that this area is open. We're welcoming new visitors, welcoming longtime visitors to come back to the mountains. Everything's open and running. It's going to be a great fall season. Leaves are turning now. It's the time to be here.
And it's the time for that recovery. You can help in the recovery of this area. Now, we were also talking to a couple that lives just not far from where Ben is, up the road. As we take a look at some video, they live in that area in Boone that those storm waters just rush right through, just taking everything in its path. They live at Barbarian Village, and they were there that day, that morning, when everything turned upside down. Folks who live there forced to evacuate. Many folks losing everything they had. They were fortunate. They did lose some things, but they were able to ride out the storm. They helped some of their neighbors try to salvage what they could. They lost some of their own possessions. They saw cars floating. They saw a propane tank, which had everyone having to leave. But they say, in spite of all this, they have strong memories, but they're still here. And they say they want to never forget what this storm meant and how the community came together. Take a listen.
I think Boone has bounced back incredibly. There's a few things that have changed. Some local businesses, some roads are a lot worse off than they were a year ago. But in general, it feels like the same town it was. A lot of students, traffic's terrible.
There's a lot of people who have moved in because of the college and everything, and we're fortunate to live in a college town because of it being able to get back on its feet so quickly. But there is also a level of all of it happened so quickly, and there wasn't a lot of time for a lot of families to mourn, or like the lives that they had to leave behind, or even the families that they lost.
Yeah, a community still struggling to get back on its feet, but they say this area is open for folks to come, and they want you to come, they want you to enjoy, and places like Tweetsie Railroad, right?
Yes. Come to Tweetsie Railroad, come to the mountains, enjoy everything we have to offer up here.
And so,
ooh, what's this?
Oh,
excuse me, but I brought some homemade treats from our fudge shop. So we want to thank you for being here and telling our story up here.
It's been our pleasure all week. We've been able to have folks who've opened their homes, their businesses to us, so we really appreciate this. We've got fudge, Ben. We've got fudge for you because you're here. I don't know about Lisa and Megan, but we've got fudge for you. Ruben and Phil, all the guys, we've got fudge, and it looks good. It looks really good. As a matter of fact,
fantastic.
There you go.
That's so good. That's so good. We got some for you. We'll bring you some right now.
Okay, I was about to say, you're just a couple miles away. So.
That's peanut butter
All right,
flavor.
Perfect.
Yes.
Very good. Richard, thank you. And folks, a reminder to join us tonight for a 1-hour special on Hurricane Helene 1 year later. That's set for tonight, 8 p.m. right here on WCNC Plus and on WCNC Charlotte. Ladies, going to turn it back to you in the studio. I do not have any fudge to offer.
I was going to say.
Only Richard has that.
I was going to say.
You better bring that back,
I know
though.
some of that fudge is going to make its way back to WCNC. Surely it is. All right, let's check in.
I'll try to find a way to smuggle some.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thanks. All right, let's check in with Chris now to find out more about our forecast. It was quite foggy, we could see behind Ben there. Tell us about the visibility.
And right here, not great. Now, and what you were looking at was actually a 0.8, so about 3/4 mile visibility around where Ben is. It's much worse from around Shelby up into Hickory over to the Statesville area. That's not good. Right around the I-40 corridor, further off towards the west. But visibility is also starting to drop as well. But if you look really closely at some of our sky cams that we have off in the distance, look at this. This looks comfy, right? Just like this blanket of clouds here on Dallas. And this is a good representation. 1,450 feet up. That's where our camera is. That's where I'm at right now. Looking down here, that's about 1,000 feet. That is extremely shallow in the atmosphere. And literally, this is what fog is. But then when it hits the ground, we officially call it fog. At this level, it's just called low-level stratus. And that's the deal. So you're going to have this layer jumping up and down across the area, some areas being impacted with direct contact, tough to see in front of you. Over here in Lylesville, this has been the brightest sky. Still a little bit of valley fog over here, but all in all, it has been brighter compared to the rest of the area. But because of that cloud cover, that blanket, as I said, it is super mild to start off the day. We're in the lower 70s to the upper 60s. 60 degrees is very mild and actually one of the warmest temperatures we've had really over the last couple of weeks around the Boone area. And then our Dallas camera showing that again. Check out where we're going. We're at 71 right now. We will start to warm up slowly but surely because that deck of clouds eventually is going to start to lift. It'll start to break, allowing for a little bit of sunshine to filter through, and that's going to allow us to warm up nicely. High temperatures in only the lower 80s. Holding on to this range, by the way, for our dew points is that air you can wear. So we will have a heat index in the mid 80s, even though it's technically in the lower 80s on the thermometer. Scare winds back tonight. It's really Friday, Saturday, Sunday, heading through the rest of the month and October. And you are going to have a chance for some thunderstorms. So just letting you know, if you are planning on going to scare winds, I'm not trying to prevent you from doing this because it's always a good time. Just letting you know, it could get spooky with some thunderstorms or really wet conditions. So you're talking about some wet monsters later on this evening. Now, by tomorrow, we have rain chances all over the place. I think by the middle of the afternoon, you still will have a chance for a passing shower or storm, but most of the rain is going to be in the morning. So it's not a washout type of day. Just letting you know, it's not a great start to your Saturday morning. It's one that personally I'm going to be like, you know what? I want to be lazy. Hopefully JT wants to be lazy. That's not always the case. But later on in the day, we're going to see the reintroduction of some more showers and storms. So I think the game is going to start off perfectly dry, but then by the time we get closer and closer, maybe into the second half, much better chance for showers and storms to be around the area. The reason why we're seeing an uptick in the rain is, one, we have that hot and humid air, that air that surrounds you, that's also storm fuel. Whenever you get something to lift it up, such as a front, a stationary front, that's technically a quasi-stationary front, one that kind of wiggles around like this, it's not going anywhere. So that's going to keep constant rain chances around. That strong push out of the south is feeding into it. That's why you have rain for the entirety of the weekend. But eventually, it wants to get out of here, and that's going to allow for a slightly drier environment on Sunday until we have something else that's going to join us. As of right now, even though it's just a name 94L for the time being, Imelda is likely going to form, I would say, over the next day or so. Maybe pushing it 2 for the maximum. As of right now, trending just to be a tropical storm, but I'm going to need a lot more time to talk about her. So coming up, I'll have a full look, the most recent models. We are seeing a general agreement. You saw us live here on WCNC Plus, the big change that this is going to impact the Carolinas. There are very few scenarios that actually drag it back out to sea. I'll tell you everything that is new as we start off the 8 o'clock hour coming up here shortly. But first, Majestic's had an up and down morning. We'll see if it's up or down. Oh, that doesn't look good.
No, lots of icons. 8:09 if you are gearing up to head out the door anytime soon. It is a busy start to the day and not in the best of ways. Want to highlight a few of our newer crashes this morning. This one here is on W.T. Harris Boulevard at Lawyers Road. We're seeing more color now develop here, meaning that cars are moving rather slowly. Just to the east of that location, we have an additional crash. This one on Woodland Beaver Road at Blair Road. So just to the east of I-485, that's on the east side of Uptown there. And then as we're heading out towards Matthews, Stallings, you know how it goes this time of the day. 485, the inner loop, heading on to Independence. Lots of red stop and go traffic, but thankfully no accidents to report there. We're also seeing some significant delays on 485 out towards Pineville. I double checked to see if there was any accidents, and there's not. Just a lot of people, again, heading out on 485, which is very typical at this time of the day. A new crash here on Highway 49 at Arrowwood Road. This is going to be impacting those northbound lanes, and then just to the west of it, you can see this crash here on Arrowwood Road at Whitehall Commons Center. So be mindful of that. We'll have the latest details coming up on more of the other crashes I'm looking at here shortly. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. 8:10 now. Big changes in Chester County after leaders voted to remove the entire board overseeing the Richburg Fire Protection District. Officials say several complaints of fraud and possible criminal activity were credible enough to trigger a state investigation.
It was substantive information of fraudulent activity within the Richburg Fire Protection District.
The vote wasn't unanimous. One council member argued the county acted without disclosing enough details. Officials insist fire service won't be interrupted while SLED investigates.
Well, coming up, the daughter of the man who tried to kill President Trump speaks out what she's saying about her father's motives.
Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted by a grand jury. Comey is being charged with 2 counts, making a false statement and obstruction of a political proceeding. This is the first time a former director of the FBI has ever been indicted in the history of the United States. Last night, Comey took to social media claiming his innocence.
My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
Time now 8:13 this morning. We're hearing from the daughter of the man accused of trying to assassinate President Trump at his golf course. Ryan Ruth was convicted earlier this week, and he tried to take his own life in the courtroom. Michael Hoffman has more on the emotional plea from his daughter.
Sarah Ruth tells me she hasn't spoken with her father since his conviction and the apparent attempted suicide in the courtroom. Tonight, her plea for help.
He's my best friend.
Through tears, Ryan Ruth's daughter, Sarah, laments over her father's conviction.
I don't think the truth has been out there.
What is the truth?
The truth is my dad does not deserve this. I know he was just trying to just get the point across that Trump was not the right person to be elected. And he wasn't trying to kill anybody.
On Tuesday, Ryan Ruth was convicted on 5 federal counts, including attempting to assassinate then-candidate Donald Trump, even trying to stab himself in the neck with a pen when his conviction was read. Ruth opted to represent himself in court. I asked his daughter why.
We're not rich. We don't have funds. We don't have the means to hire a private attorney. He felt like he was backed against the wall, and he felt like he was the only one that could get his message across.
And though her father has been convicted, she says it's not over yet.
I will appeal. And I am looking for any and everybody that is willing to stand behind me and my father to find a way to appeal this case.
Searching for answers, I spoke with former Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg to find out if Ruth has any path to appeal.
It is legitimate grounds for appeal that the judge should never have allowed Ryan Ruth to represent himself. I would say that has a greater chance of succeeding on appeal than he ever had in getting an acquittal in this case.
Reporting in Fort Pierce.
That our family is going through a lot.
I'm Michael Hoffman.
I am open to talk to anybody willing to help us.
Back to you.
The opening statement and wasn't allowed.
1 year after Hurricane Helene, we are sharing the heroic efforts that you haven't heard about until now.
.18 right now live on WCNC Plus, And it has been 1 year since Hurricane Helene, and we are live once again in Boone this morning, as we have been all week long. And you can't talk about the recovery here in the mountains without talking about the role of first responders. From the very beginning, they rushed in well before the water receded and the roads were repaired. WCNC Charlotte's Vanessa Rufus spoke with the Rowan County Sheriff, who led dozens of his men and women to Avery County.
In the days following Helene, this was the sound of salvation. And on this day, Rowan County deputies were aboard this helicopter, ushering more than 30 trapped people to safety.
Those type of experiences are hard to forget. In a career, they will never forget that.
Rowan County Sheriff Travis Allen has an album of these memories. Reminders of the devastation he and his deputies saw when they deployed to Avery County amid an unthinkable disaster. But also reminders of the strength of community.
You've seen it during 9/11, you see it during these tragedies. America just shows up. And it doesn't matter if you're white or black, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter. People show up and they help each other out.
In this case, help came from all over the nation. Allen says one day his deputies were working alongside teams from Maryland, the next, Cary, North Carolina. Collaboration was on full display in many ways. In fact, with power and water out at the county jail, Allen took in 30 inmates over to his jail to ease that concern for the Avery County Sheriff.
That way, that sheriff can concentrate all his personnel on just recovery and rescue. So that's what we did.
There were challenges around every corner, too. With normal communications down, cell phones, GPS were useless. Bridges and roads washed away, posing access problems. Deputies had to learn how to work around that and what other skill sets they need with them in those situations.
When we do deploy, we just don't deploy with deputies. We deploy with one of our fire departments, with the rescue squad, with our own EMTs. Because up there, if one of your guys gets in trouble, there's no EMT to call.
And today, not only do Rowan deputies have the experience of meeting that critical moment, they also carry a literal badge of honor, reminding them of their work and how their duty to serve persisted through one of the community's biggest crises.
Because we live in a polarized society, right? And you don't really see that. All you see is sometimes the clashes, but when you get to something like that and you see all of society not caring about anything except we're just going to help our neighbor, that makes you feel real good to be an American and to be a North Carolinian.
Love that, Sheriff. Evidently a great guy. All right, let's turn back to your forecast. All right, Chris, bring us up to speed on Imelda.
So first off, our time frame is going to be all over the place, just being honest with you, is because we still have to actually form the storm Imelda. That's the big deal. So the time frame in general, I think it's going to be anywhere from about Monday night into early Wednesday. You might be like, well, that is a wide window. Well, we still need to know the speed, the exact place of landfall, and also what the impacts are going to be. Now, this is our QPF, the Quantitative Precipitation Forecast. This is brought to us by the Storm Prediction Center. They're calling for the eastern side of the Carolinas to see upwards to 5 to 7 inches of rain over the next day. That's also including all the rain that we're seeing here in the near term. That also brings a decent amount of rain here in the Charlotte area. It just really all depends on how much rain that we're going to see associated with it. So, as I was showing you earlier, the intensity forecast is all over the place, but we are starting to see a consensus. And that was the deal yesterday that was a little alarming, that finally, after what looked like a storm that was going to be a miss, steering out to sea, indirect impacts, is directly going to make landfall. I want you to understand, though, even though this is just a tropical storm, don't think that way. Because we've had many storms like Debbie and Chantal over the last couple of years that were just tropical storms. There's a lot of storms in history that are retired names that were just tropical storms. The amount of rain that could come with this could be upwards to 10 plus inches of rain in some parts of the Carolinas. So we just have to kind of put that in the back of our mind. It's not about being a hurricane or a tropical storm. That I'm officially moving us up into the Sept zone, really between about Myrtle Beach and the Charleston area. So there's still a lot that can still change with this, but this is just really to keep it in your mind to start to prepare for this potential storm. Now, not a evacuations. We're not anywhere close to that, but we're now just really need to pique your interest if you do have a property or have anyone right along the South Carolina coast. A lot can still change, but I want you to at least kind of say a tentative plan, because in the next day or so, I would say in the next couple of days, we're going to have one of two things. Either you're going to have that typical cone that helps us plan for the general timing from the National Hurricane Center for Tropical Storm Imelda, or you're going to have what's called a PTC. That's a potential tropical cyclone. The reason why one of those are issued is it gives the National Hurricane Center an option of issuing that typical cone ahead of any storm starting to arrive. So just keep that in mind. This is going to be some major impacts for parts of the Carolinas. It just all depends on the path. It is going all these different directions, but the one thing that we do know is that at least it's going to be Monday night heading into Wednesday morning that we're really going to see our weather change here in the Charlotte area. It's going to be cloudy regardless. It's going to be cooler regardless. It's just about how much rain that we're going to see and how long it's going to last. So there's a bunch of different options. Over the next half hour, I'm going to show you all the different options and scenarios that this potential storm is going to bring, as well as your weekend rain forecast. Let's get back over to Majestic for a very busy map.
All right, good morning, everyone. If you're just waking up and joining us, here's some new information for you. This is I-77 at Atondo Ave. You can see there is a crash there. Cars are still able to get around it. There are several police officers there on scene. They're just, the cars are just moving rather slowly. So we're not at a complete standstill, but this is going to be something that you're going to want to know. Again, I-77 out towards exit 12. You can see our drive times are definitely starting to pile up. 54 minutes if you're coming in from Salisbury and heading back to that crash that I just showed you. You can see all of that red stop and go traffic. A lane is blocked because of the crash. It's on I-77 southbound, exit 12. That's Atondo Ave. We'll have more on your traffic report coming up after the break.
Hello, hello. We got some blue sky off in the distance, but you're not seeing it likely through our Dallas camera because we have these thick clouds here at the surface, so likely you're looking at overcast sky, but there is some optimism above our heads, so we will see a little bit of sunshine later on. More of that air you can wear, though. We are feeling muggy once again. Real feel mid-80s, actual high temperatures today only in the lower 80s, so a little bit cooler. Meanwhile, we have this front that's slowly pushing through the area. That's going to keep some on and off rain in our forecast, especially through this evening. Tonight, heading into tomorrow, looks to be the wettest period that we're seeing across our area, and eventually the Carolinas will start to see this exit its way further off towards the east, but it's still going to keep that rain around the near term. Either side of 80 degrees over the next few days. I think that you're going to have a little bit of a lull in the action for your Saturday afternoon, even late morning, and then on Sunday looks to be the driest day of the weekend. After that, cooler with a chance for impacts, which will be Tropical Storm Imelda. Let's get right over to Majestic.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I want to let you know about a slowdown for your Friday morning commute. This is I-77 at exit 12 at Tondo Ave. You can see multiple police officers are there on scene. One lane is blocked because of this. Notice that traffic is still flowing. It's just moving a little slower than it typically would be if there wasn't an accident. We got some problems outside. We have lots of ongoing wrecks, unfortunately, but this is the same crash that I just showed you. You can see those delays. A lane blocked because of that crash. I-77 southbound at exit 12. Again, that's at Tondo Ave. We'll be covering everything else for you this morning coming up on WCNC Plus.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Megan Bragg. It's been 1 year since Hurricane Helene tore through our region, and we've been highlighting Western North Carolina all week long. Ben Thompson joins us live again from Boone with an update on how recovery efforts are. Ben?
Hey there, Megan. Yeah, we're learning that tomorrow is going to be a day of remembrance in Avery County, a number of events happening there. And then Sunday here in Boone, town's going to hold a candlelight vigil, not only remembering the lives lost and the damage that took place, but also to honor the strength and the courage of this community over the last year. The milestone event takes place over at the Jones House Lawn. That's just across the street from where I'm sitting. Again, it's this Sunday at 7:30. And you know, here in Boone, businesses up and down Highway 321 still fighting for their survival a year after the storm. You probably know it, 321, the main thoroughfare that connects Boone to Blowing Rock all the way down to Gastonia. And fall, up here in the mountains, the busiest time of the year for these family businesses, like the Black Bear General Store and J&M Produce. No doubt you have passed them, even if you have not gone to them. But you know what, after Helene, both stores went months with hardly any visitors.
October is our make it or break it. We make 30 to 40% of our total sales in October. We made 9% last October.
I am hopeful, and all I really want now is to survive.
Just to survive. With main highways repaired and businesses back open for business, they're hoping for a big fall season. Of course, all of us can help them do that. And check this out, Charlotte Hornets players Josh Green and Grant Williams spent the day in Western North Carolina to take part of renovating the Riverview Community Center there. The Hornets teamed up with Lowe's for the Legacy Project, their annual initiative to revitalize public basketball courts and parks. Grant Williams feels it's centers like these that are the heartbeat of a community.
It's valuable to, you go through something as difficult as a hurricane or a community tragedy, and it's most important to realize that we're all together. And a community center like this, or even a gym, allows you to, develop relationships, to learn how to communicate, but also to get connected and understand that you're not the only one going through something in life. I think it's very valuable to have a place like this because without it, communities can isolate or separate. So this community center brings it all together.
Hornets kick off their preseason on October 5th. And folks, just a reminder to join us tonight for a 1-hour special on Hurricane Helene 1 year later. That's tonight, set for 8 p.m. right here on WCNC Plus and over on WCNC Charlotte. And folks, I'm so proud of our team over the last week, spending the time up here on the mountain, talking to the folks and the neighbors here and what they've been through, highlighting some of their big achievements in the last year and some of the places that, frankly, they still need a lot of help. It's been important work that we've been doing all week long, and I couldn't be prouder of our team.
No, I totally agree, and great job for you as well, Ben. And Richard just talking to everyone this week, and so much has been done, but really we have so much more to go. And this was one of the campaigns that the Mountains had, the Bounce Back NC High Country. It says we're open, come on up, and that still goes, especially for this time of year. And we're already seeing some great signs. It's around Grandfather Mountain. That's exactly where this was taken from. This photo is from a couple of weeks ago. This one right here, that is the sassafras already starting to turn. So it's really about this time until about October 5th that we're starting to near that peak of that fall foliage. So get ready. We are really close to it. As for the mountain forecast, temperatures are going to be in the lower 70s for our highs over the next several days. Just like the Charlotte area, the most widespread rain does look to be on your Saturday. I think rain lasts a little bit longer here. And then we have more isolated, scattered environment for Sunday, Monday, into Tuesday. Of course, it still is completely reliant on whatever this system is and when it becomes. So first off, what the cloud cover that you're looking at right now, that is exactly what's happening right now with Tropical Invest 94L, which will soon become Imelda. But what you're looking at right now in this Pico Duarte, so this is right here in Hispaniola. It's this mountain chain is 10,000 feet up that is responsible for breaking up a lot of tropical systems. And that's exactly what's happening now. We would have already had some sort of named storm. And this is actually our saving grace because it's been hanging out here. It's getting caught up on the mountains. We haven't really had a chance for any further development. So that's why you have two broken pieces here. Here's the technical center, but I think it's going to start to reorganize itself as it pushes past Turks and Caicos into the Bahamas, so it might take a little bit longer. It was looking like today could be the official time that this starts to strengthen. Might be a little bit later on today, heading into the latter part of the weekend. But there's a second thing that's going to break up formation. We like this. This is good news. That's going to be wind shear. So wind shear is going to cut into its development, especially as it gets a little bit closer. So we might have a shot that this is going to be just a weak storm. However, it's going to pick up a ton of moisture. So that's one thing that we can't avoid. So the rainfall is still, I think, going to be the biggest issue. We continue to see more and more agreement that there's at least going to be a landfall. There are some indications that it could curve right back out to sea, but the worst case scenario is that it moves up into the mountains and kind of sits and turns around. So fingers crossed that that scenario, which is one of the more least likely, isn't going to come to fruition. Meanwhile, our tropical winds, looking at this, our models going out there, everything is really representing still a tropical storm at this point. So again, fingers crossed that that is going to be the case and scenario. Satellite and radar for the time being right now, we don't have to worry about any Imeldas or tropical storms here in the Carolinas for the weekend. This is just general clouds and rain. So we have some very light rain that is now passing east of Charlotte. It's very damp, it's dreary, it's not a great start to the day, and some heavier rain is now really picking up down here in South Carolina. So if you live anywhere from Lancaster, Wadesboro to the southeast, you're actually looking at a pretty good uptick in the showers. And I think we'll have some heavier rain a little bit later on this afternoon for Charlotte, but now we're just going to be getting to just plain old clouds. So here's a look at our futurecast. Here's that lull. Either side of noon looks to be okay, perfectly dry, but I think we're going to start to see a brighter sky, at least mostly cloudy, so it will get a little bit brighter. At that point, it's not great because then we're really going to be feeling the mugginess of the day, but that's going to pick up a shower or a storm. But my advice for you, if you have any plans this evening, might be rain boot, rain jacket type of deal. Certainly have the umbrella for the minimum, because watch what happens. This is 6 o'clock. This is 9 o'clock. That's widespread rain, especially the further west that you go. We do have a low risk for some flooding to a moderate risk for flooding and a lot of significant potting as well. And also a higher accident risk because some of us still haven't really seen a substantial rain. So please, please, please be safe. And I think that's exactly what's been happening to you, Majestic, as we do have some of those damper roads since it has been so dry. The roads are a little bit slicker than people might realize.
Yeah, they need to pay attention, especially over the next several days. Let's start with this, though. This is I-77, exit 12 at Tondo Ave. So it is actually still moving quite well. This is going to be a place where you may have some congestion at times because we do still have an active crash there. Lane blocked because of a crash. Again, I-77 south at Tondo Ave. Seeing some improvements, though, so that's some good news. We still have a handful of accidents. You can see tons that are ongoing right now. Do want to let you know still this is about where you will encounter those wet roadways. So mainly east right now of I-77 and then mainly west of it. That's where pockets of dense fog continue to linger, especially out there in parts of Cleveland County out toward Shelby. I want to stay in Cleveland County because this area has been a trouble spot for us this morning. Still, a lane is blocked because of a crash. It's on I-85. It's by the South Carolina border right here, heading northbound at exit 2 near Battleground Road. You can see the red still right there. Stop and go traffic because of that. Keep that one in mind. You can still get through. It's just going to take you a little bit longer than it typically would. And then here, a lane is blocked because an additional crash. It's on Highway 74 at Remount Road. So seeing still some yellow here. Those are the most important things that you need to know as you're heading out the door. But we will have another check on those roads coming up here in just a little while. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. Now to a breaking news update this morning. A 16-year-old who was shot at a sleepover on Sunday has died. Jeremiah Gonzalez was fighting for his life in the hospital after being shot on East Todd Lane. The suspect, 20-year-old Josue Ramos, is now charged with murder. A GoFundMe to help Gonzalez's family lay him to rest is now available. We have that information on our WCNC mobile app.
This morning, CMPD is ramping up its cold case work, now naming a full-time sergeant to focus on unsolved homicides and sexual assaults. The move was announced at a vigil last night. The event is part of a nationwide movement remembering victims while also pushing for justice in unsolved cases.
Somebody who transitioned from homicide, so with great homicide experience, and they'll be looking at cold cases, cold case homicides and cold case sexual assaults, and hopefully get some results for families.
Families say no conviction can replace what they've lost, but add the renewed focus brings hope their loved ones will not be forgotten.
Coming up, AI and CMS, the new guidelines that could impact teachers and students. 8:42 now. This morning, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools is developing a plan to help guide the appropriate use of AI in the classroom. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning with what we learned from last night's school board meeting, where they presented the first reading of this proposed policy. Destiny.
Good morning. Yeah, CMS leaders want to set clear rules for how AI can be used in the classroom, they want to focus on keeping human connection and having responsible use as well. Now, this was at the school board meeting that they introduced the potential guidelines for a district-wide AI policy, saying while AI can help improve learning, it should never replace human interaction, creativity, or decision-making. It will be an 8-part policy, including training for staff, privacy protections, and yearly reviews to keep up with evolving technology. Vice Chair Dee Rankin, who leads the policy committee, says the goal is to make sure AI tools are used responsibly and in ways that support the district's educational mission.
This policy aims to ensure that AI systems introduced into the district align with educational goals, comply with privacy laws such as FERPA and COPPA, are accessible to our diverse student and staff population, that AI bias is mitigated whenever possible.
There's a public hearing planned to talk about this AI policy on October 14th, and the school board will have more discussion and vote on October 28th. Live in West Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Destiny, thanks so much. Coming up, Chris has an update on the weather impact forecast. The time now is 8:46. Chris, we're going to check on the weather, but I have to tell you, my niece is screaming my name on the TV. So hi, Harper. I have to say hi to her right now because she's so cute. She's only 2. And my mother's like, she keeps screaming at the TV. So hi, Harper. Good morning.
Hi, Harper. That's awesome.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, see, JT used to love watching me. Now
Yeah,
he said,
I bet.
now he asked for a different movie. So, so Harper, I'm glad that you enjoy watching us. JT, hopefully you come back again. I'll get your viewership back. That is awesome. So one more time, Harper, this forecast for you. This is actually maybe a different forecast. This isn't a really good one for you. You deserve better than this. Here's our wave heights. I want to show you this. I want to slowly go through this and see how far out this model data goes. It should be longer than this. I guess it just ended early. All right, but anyways, the model data that I was looking at for some of the wave heights was showing a pretty significant change a little bit later on in the forecast once we get a little bit closer to the potential Imelda. But I also will show you what the general trend is showing for our forecast winds. For one, if you look to the right of your screen, that is a big bad hurricane. We are talking about a compact circulation, a tight pinhole eye wall, very Irma-like. And I think that likely this is going to become a strong Category 4, so we can thank our lucky stars that that is not the storm that is going to be barreling towards the Carolinas. Instead, the one that you're seeing to the left of your screen come 4 a.m. on Monday, that potentially is going to be Imelda. This is a broken mess, and we can thank wind shear for that. We can thank the mountains of Hispaniola for delaying the formation, but still, around Monday heading into Tuesday, I think this is going to rocket its way off towards the north, and I still have to let people know, even though it potentially may be just a tropical storm, that means nothing. You're still looking at a tremendous amount of rain that's coming from this system. So I wanted to show you something real quick. Here's a look at that model data. I was showing a lot of this yesterday. This one model, this one, by the way, is the American model. It shows the first signs of really heavy rain, which, by the way, before this even gets here, we're calling for about 1 to 2 inches of rain across the Carolinas, but then by about Monday afternoon, that's where they have their arrival here. This has more of a southern landfall. Look at all that rain. That's including upwards to 3 to 5 inches of rain through Wednesday morning for the mountains, through Columbia, through the Charleston area. Notice how there's just as much rain in Columbia as pretty much around Hendersonville, and there's just as much rain over in Asheville. Well, first off, when a storm system like this rides up the mountains, it squeezes all the moisture out. It's like pretty much wringing a sponge out to its maximum capacity. That's also one of the biggest reasons why Helene dumped the amount of Helene rain, because of that setup. So this would be a terrible forecast, even as a tropical storm, from the shoreline of South Carolina all the way up to around Asheville. So that's not a good case and scenario. So even though, again, as we were just mentioning, it's just a potential tropical storm, it's still not a good environment. Meanwhile, this other data shows a little bit more widespread rain before this system arrives, anywhere up to 2 to 3 inches in some areas to the east. But this model is representing a little bit further of a northern pass as far as that storm goes. That would be less rain for the mountains and for the Charlotte area. So this is the main reason why we really can't make a big call of what's happening. The couple of things that have agreed is, one, it's really anywhere from around Hilton Head up to as far north as the Wilmington area that we potentially could have a landfall. Because of so many different things, this will likely be tropical storm Imelda. That is not meaning that we can't reach hurricane status, and there are some very low indications that things just rip this up completely, but still a lot of rain and some coastal flooding are going to be possibilities. Beaches are likely going to be closed because of this, and we're not seeing a lot of sunshine. So one last look at our 7-day forecast brought to us by my man right here, the Jerry Hunt Super Center. And that's why I have not weather alert days per se, but there's just still too many unknowns about how we're going to be affected here in the Charlotte area. So I just want in the back of our mind just to be kind of on the ready set mode for an Imelda watch come as early as about late afternoon on Monday, but more so on your Tuesday looks to be the biggest impacts as the system rolls in. Meanwhile, either side of 80 degrees in the short term today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Best chances for rain for your weekend will be this evening, tonight, into tomorrow morning if you have any events that you're going to. Majestic, let's get right over to you for our traffic report.
All right, we've been talking about exit 12 and Atondo Ave right there because there was a previous wreck that has since been cleared. This is a live camera look. You can tell it's just overcast and we are still dealing with some fog out there. All dry conditions out on those area roadways, but that's not the case for everyone. A handful of accidents, but if you are getting ready to leave, we have some heavy rain that's going to be coming down from Camden, tracking northeast up towards Chirac. So really slow it down on those area roadways as it could be a very, very slick. Most of the rain right now east of I-77, but if you're traveling this morning west of I-77, that's where we have really dense fog out towards Shelby and Cleveland County, Gastonia right along 321 from Hickory to Lincolnton. Even as we just zoom it on out, you can see we are playing with those weather elements with our morning commute. You can see all of this red right here still indicating stop and go traffic. It's because we do have a lane that's blocked on I-85 northbound at exit 2. That's out towards Battleground Road. So plan accordingly for that Friday commute.
Favorite toy from our childhood for one Wisconsin girl. That's Woody from Toy Story.
Earlier this month, the family went on a vacation and Woody got lost, but through the help of a Texas community, Woody made it back home. Kim Ledhorn shares the story.
Howdy, partner.
Giatello's favorite sidekick is pretty well known.
My name's Sheriff Woody.
And as her family would tell you, she takes him everywhere.
We literally took him to Yellowstone, he went to Mount Rainier, he went to the Black Beach, Sand Beach in California, he went everywhere.
But somewhere along the trip,
I couldn't find him.
Woody got lost.
I reached out to local businesses, I reached out to news companies.
So Gia's mom, Shauna, went online asking for help.
We came home, and at that point, through the power of social media, our posts got shared so many times.
That's where the San Marcos Visitor Center in Texas comes in.
Our neighbors at the San Marcos Discovery Center had seen Woody on his little solo adventure, because he wanted to extend his vacation.
And with their help, Woody went on an adventure all by himself.
They took him inside, got him out of the Texas heat for a little bit, let him relax, recover. And then once he was rested and ready to go on another adventure, the Visit San Marcos team took him and showed him around San Marcos,
stopping by the river and exploring downtown before making his way back home.
To know that this kid was coming from a different state, and having a true vacation experience, and that, San Marcos got to be a part of her story, and that's really cool for everyone.
Thanks. I try to stay active.
There was some humor you had to find in it, going, really? I experienced my own little Toy Story adventure.
But even more than that,
I wanted to make sure that she got it back.
She has a daughter excited to be back with her favorite toy.
So as a mom, you always want to just see them happy. It's just something she really loves.
You got a friend in me.
And she has some friends in San Marcos, too.
That is so cute.
I love it, and I get it. I mean, you love your favorite toy. We were just talking with my daughter. She lost one, and I drove 45 minutes to get a stuffed puppy.
Because you're a good mom.
We have to take a quick break. Keep it right here in WCNC Plus. Another update on weather and traffic on the broadcast side. And then at 9 o'clock, Jane Monreal, you see her there, the bottom left of your screen, takes over from our live Impact News studio. Stay with us here on WCNC Plus.
Umbrellas, have them, check. later on today, especially heading into the evening and the overnight, that's where rain is most likely heading into a widespread status to begin your Saturday morning. And then we're going to hit a little bit of a lull. So here I want to start the clock right at 6 o'clock, seeing scattered showers and thunderstorms. I think for the time being, we're about to hit a little bit of a lull, just trying to get any sort of brightness to the sky. Then widespread rain through the overnight. We could pick up a couple of inches of rain, by the way, so we could have some localized flooding and definitely some significant ponding. Either side of 80 degrees the next 3 days. Cooler with a chance of effects from what will be Imelda Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday. Majestic, what's going on?
Good morning, everyone. It's been a very busy start to our Friday morning. You can see some of those roads are going to be wet for that morning commute, kind of just depending on where you are. Mainly east of I-77, still dealing with that fog as well, though. And then we are watching this. This is I-85. This has been a watch spot for us all morning long. A lane remains blocked because of a crash. Again, I-85 northbound at exit 2. That's Battleground Road. Take it easy and have a good weekend.